Hello and welcome to Sooner Sports Pad. We're live from Studio A at the University of Oklahoma, ready to talk all things Sooner sports. And we have OU men's tennis joining us tonight. OU football is back at home and they're looking to prove there's really no place like home. I'm your host, Kaylee Jo Hommel, and I'm joined by Abby Williams and Britton Ross. Now we're going to send it back to the SIP. I have the recap from the Sooners' first time in Oxford, and we're going to take a closer look at both sides of the ball against the Rebels.
Plus, we have previews on both the men's and women's basketball teams as they get ready for their seasons to get started.
And with the NBA season underway, we're talking about a new Sooner Pro. You won't want to miss it.
And Saturday was packed with furry friends on the sideline. Of course, I found them. And even Juice Kiffin was ready for the Sooners. First quarter, Ole Miss already up 7. Jackson Arnold finds Bauer Sharp in the end zone, passes for 11 yards and ties the score. But that's not the only OU touchdown of the day. Right here, he's at the 15. He goes to the 10. He's now at the 5. And this random squirrel rushes into the Oklahoma end zone. Okay, this one doesn't count, but here's one that does. Arnold uses his arm again, and this time finds Jacob Jordan for 9 yards this time. OU goes up into halftime 14-10, but in the second half, it was a different story. Ole Miss really brought the boom. Jackson Dart throws one into the end zone, and the Rebels get another rushing touchdown. Afterwards, OU doesn't score once in this half, with the final score 26-14 Ole Miss. Now, the OU defense held the then number 2 offense in the country to just 26 points. Kentucky has been the only other team to keep the Rebs to less than that this season. Sooner Sports Pad reporter Emily Leveth has more on halting the lane train.
The Sooners came into their game against Ole Miss a 19.5-point underdog, and while the defense was able to shave a touchdown off that total, they were still struggling in the secondary. They allowed over 300 passing yards, and in the third quarter alone, 5 plays of over 20 yards, and the Rebels were out one of their top receivers. But they know they have to limit explosive plays going into next week.
We got to have more discipline, and everything starts and ends with discipline, and we got to play with it. You got to take the things that you do in the course of game or practice, and you got to take it to game day, and you got to poise under pressure. And teams are too good, and this is a team that's too good. They've got a really good system, and when you make mistakes, they're going to punish you.
You get a little bit nosy, eyes go in the backfield, and the guy runs by you. And there's quite a bit of that, man, I felt like we could have been in probably some better calls too. We've also got to execute what we're doing and do our job and do it really well. And a couple of those, we just gave them easy reads and weren't in a great phase or great technique, and we've got to continue to play hard.
We've only been working harder since every loss. No guys have been falling off the wagon. We've only been working harder as a group, honestly. So I was happy what I saw from Jackson today and the offense. The defense, that's all we're worried about is we got to play better.
OU has 4 games remaining on their schedule. They just need to win 2 of those if they want to be bowl eligible, and they have not missed a bowl since 1998. Reporting from the Vaught, Emily Lebeth, Sooner Sports Pad.
The Sooners only gave up 69 rushing yards and only 2.2 yards per rush against an offense that averaged over 200 yards on the ground. The issue was they gave up over 300 passing yards. This was one of the best defenses in the country. What happened, Abby?
Yeah, for a defense that started out as one of the best in the nation, OU's hit a decline since that bye week. Against Ole Miss, the Sooner defense allowed a whopping 10.4 yards per pass. That's more than enough for a first down every throw.
Now over on the offense, the offensive line made history again, but not in a good way. OU was initially credited with allowing 9 sacks, but this was later updated to 10. I was in Oxford where the Ole Miss defense locked down in the last 2 quarters. The OU offense showed out in Oxford, for the first 2 quarters. The second half was a different story with 16 unanswered points. This and now back-to-back games with 9 sacks allowed means that the Sooners are still looking to improve on this side of the ball.
Credit to Ole Miss, they did what they needed to do coming out of halftime, and we didn't. But at the end of the day, and I look back at a couple of those drives, is that them or is that us? The explosive plays were a killer, and losing our rhythm on offense, we weren't able to put things together like we were in the first half, and that's how the game went. Joe John was really good. He was in a good rhythm.
It's in there, just got to be more consistent. Do it for one half. Now we got to do it for a complete game, and
and I think we're going to like what we see. Those are things that you can build upon. Jackson made some really good plays, some really good decisions.
A lot more different things we're doing, and I wouldn't say it mirrored last year, but I mean, we're trying to call some of the things we called this year, try to get good at what we've been running this week and this year. And I thought, honestly, I thought he did a great job today. I think today they played a lot more zone than they've shown previously, and relied on us beating them, or them matching our routes, and us beating them with my arm. And when they match routes like that, the lanes open up for the quarterback to scramble.
The Sooners move to 4-4 for the season, and they return back home next weekend where they're going to face Maine for the first time ever. Reporting from Vaught Hemingway Stadium, Kaylee Jo Hummel, Sooner Sports Pad.
Well, thanks, Kaylee Jo. I mean, you said it yourself. The Sooners' offensive line allowed Ole Miss to get 10 sacks this weekend, and they have now allowed more sacks than any other team in the nation. But with a new play caller, the Sooner offense attempts to make up for the crumbling pocket.
Well, let's look at the bright side, Abby. The Sooners scored 2 passing touchdowns against Ole Miss. We won't mention that they were shut out in the second half, but 2 passing TDs is the most they've had in a game since Houston in week 2.
That's right.
When it comes to games against New England teams, the Sooners have played 3 and won 3, 1 against Connecticut and 2 against Boston College. When we return, we'll look at OU's next opponent looking to try their claws at making history. On paper, a 4-4 team and a 4-4 team seems pretty fair. But when Maine comes to Norman, Oklahoma plans to have the win locked down against FCS teams. The Sooners have won by an average score of 60.25 to 4.5. The Black Bears finished 2-9 the past 2 seasons, and they're coming off a loss to Rhode Island. Head coach Brent Venables knows this is the week to get better.
If you look at a stat sheet, right now we're really bad when it comes to lots of spaces. And sacks is one of them, and so you got to have perspective on all of it. At the end of the day, none of it's any good, and we'll work, relentlessly on trying to improve and get better.
Now, this should be an easy blowout for OU, especially as Oklahoma looks to become bowl eligible. But Britton, what does the defense need to do to cage the Black Bears?
Well, the Maine offense averages more points per game than OU does, just over 24 points per game. They haven't played an FBS team this year, though. But Montego Moss, son of Hall of Famer Randy Moss, could be a serious problem for the Sooners defense. But R. Mason Thomas feels like they've played well recently.
We were just shooting ourselves in the foot sometimes, just getting the call or anything like that. We were looking over it, and today we could be better on all aspects, but at first thoughts of getting the call and getting lined up, I think we had struggles from time to time to do that on those touchdown drives. But other than that, after cleaning that up, I think we were overall kind of good.
Well, Britton, I'm with you on this one. If OU ever needed a time to pad some stats, well, this Maine game couldn't have come at a better week. Even with a struggling OU offensive line, the Maine defense shouldn't be a challenge. Running back Taylor Tatum says even with a break from the SEC, the Sooners are staying focused.
Y'all saw the first half, so y'all saw what we can be and what we plan to be for the rest of the year. So, I mean, we're just taking all the positives from that and just moving on to next week and the rest of the year and focusing on us. That's the main goal, is focus on us, focus on getting better individually.
Now, this game is scheduled to give OU a break, and I think it'll be an easy win. A win on the field and in confidence as the Sooners head into their last 3 games against Mizzou, Bama, and LSU.
Yeah, Kaylee, the Sooners have never lost to an FCS opponent, and they won't start now. It might be hard to picture an OU win these days, but I've got the Sooners by 40.
Well, Abby, the November FCS game has been a staple of the SEC for years. This will be a game that the Sooners can finally feel good about. OU beats Maine 38-7.
Get ready to say game, set, match, because when we come back, the doubles match is right here in Studio A. We have an exclusive interview with OU men's tennis. Say hello to OU men's tennis. Our guests won the Norman Open last weekend. We have Oscar Lacide and Bruno Navon here with us. Yay! Oscar is a freshman originally from Guadalupe. Bruno is a junior from Mozambique. The two are 11-0 so far this fall and have both qualified for the NCAA Individual Championships in November. Abby, Britton, take it away.
Thank you both so much for being here. First off, a question for both of you. You guys have literally come all the way around the world to be here. What was it that makes OU home?
Well, I'll start off by saying that it's just so welcoming. You know, obviously it's very known for a great program, and we just wanted to be part of this. That's my side.
Yeah, I think exactly the same. So we come from like both very far country, so yeah, it's really cool here, and we both enjoy here. Yeah.
Yeah. NCAA Individual Championships. What's it like to be able to come in here and do that in your first year?
It's very cool. Like, it's very good. So we train hard for that every day. So we have the goal, and the goal is like to gonna play good to the NCAA. So it's really cool, yeah.
And Bruno, you previously played at Cowley College, winning 3 national champions there. What was that like?
That was an amazing experience. I mean, I was kind of sad that I was going to community college before going to D1, but I believe everything happens for a reason. And I believe that if I didn't go to Cowley, I would probably not know about OU. So I was grateful. It was a great time, and hopefully I can come here and achieve the same thing with my teammates this year.
Now, again, for both of you, you're 11-0 whenever you're playing together this fall. How do you build chemistry like that on the tennis court?
You go first.
He's sort of too big.
Well,
no, honestly, I don't know. Just like I understand him, he understands me. So we both like have the connection and everything. So yeah.
I honestly just feel like Oscar and I connected as soon as we met each other. It's very easy to just be by his side. Like, I just trust him on court, and I feel like he trusts me too. So I think our games are very compatible. We both like playing with power and very fast games. So I feel like whenever we both are on the dot or on the spot, like, it's very tough to be beaten. But you know, knock on wood, we still, the job's not done yet. We're very excited for what's coming next month, and hopefully we go and get the NCAA championship together.
Oscar, you moved all the way to Paris for tennis. What kind of influenced that decision?
To move to Paris or here?
Move to Paris.
It was like in Guadeloupe. It's like a small Caribbean island, and I don't have like a lot of guy for practice, and I would like to like change like environment, so that's why I moved. Yeah, but yeah, that's why.
Well, thank you both so much for being here tonight, and good luck on the rest of your season.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks again, Oscar and Bruno. OU men's tennis is back on the court this weekend, looking to ace their way through the Ralston-Neufeld Coaches Challenge in Dallas. Now, don't go anywhere, because these Sooner sports will keep swinging, shooting, kicking. Well, I could go on and on. We have more OU athletics next. We mentioned bowling earlier, and no, I'm not talking lanes, pins, or strikes. When it comes to bowl appearances, OU currently has the second longest active streak behind Georgia. So I've got to know, do Sooner fans think Oklahoma will make a bowl game this season?
Kaylee, look, I'm gonna be real. The only bowl we're going to see this year is a bowl of cereal. Other than that, we ain't going to see any other bowls. I'm sorry. The only rosé we're going to see is rosé. I'm going to be drinking.
I think that we're going to be bringing the boom, and we are definitely making a bowl game.
Alrighty, well, that is all the football we have for now, because fall ball is heating up at L. Dale Mitchell Park. OU baseball is back in action, and on Friday took on McLennan College in a 14-inning contest. The Sooners showed up, winning 9 runs to 2. After the normal 9 innings, the score was already 9-0 Oklahoma. OU will be back this Friday for the Fall World Series, a set of intra-squad scrimmages.
Well, the most dominant Sooner team kept doing its thing. OU softball steamrolled ULM 8-0 and 12-0 in a doubleheader on Saturday. Sam Landry and Audrey Lowry combined for a no-hitter in Game 1, striking out 7 and only allowing 1 base runner. Cassidy Pickering, Isabella Emmerling, and Corey Hicks all homered in Game 2. And junior pitcher turned Sooner sports pad camera operator Peyton Monticelli struck out 3 to earn her first save this fall. Now they host Mid-American Christian at Loves Field on Friday.
Well, I'm taking it over to OU soccer. The Sooners travel to Gainesville Sunday to take on Florida for their regular season finale. This game was a defensive battle. OU held the Gators to 0 shots on goal. And in just the 11th minute, it was Hadley Merle that put the Sooners up 1-0. It was the only score of the match, giving OU their 10th win on the season to round out their first year in the SEC.
It's time to get some college basketball started, and the OU women get an early start because they're playing an exhibition game right now. Britton, what's the season looking like for Jenny Veronchek and her girls?
Well, Kaylee Jo, OU women's basketball starts the year ranked number 10 in the preseason poll, partially because this offseason they added the #1 recruit in the transfer portal, Reagan Beers, and she's feeling right at home here in Norman.
But it was really that family atmosphere that I was used to at Oregon State that got carried over and looked very similar here at Oklahoma, that I really loved and enjoyed and wanted to be a part of. That stood out the most, and the way that Jenny coaches and the passion that she coaches with, that she just gets on you and wants to be the best. Wants you to be the best version, not just on the court, but off the court.
Now for Porter Mosier's squad, nearly 2/3 of this year's team is brand new, with most players from last year's team either transferred or graduated. But Mosier says returners like Sam Godwin and Jalen Moore are key pieces in his efforts to build up the program.
And it helped because what retention does for you is the new guys come in the program, and those 8 or 9 are telling the new guys, this is how we do things. This is how hard we go. This is our standards.
Now, the competition isn't over yet because when we come back, it's time for Face Off. Our 2 anchors will debate everything Sooner sports, and even our audience will get involved. It's time for Face Off. Our 2 anchors will go head-to-head debating all things Sooner sports. And our in-studio audience will pick a winner. Abby is currently in the lead with Britton trailing behind by 2. Come on, Britton. I'm even rooting for you tonight. Now, when it comes to OU offensive MVPs inside of Vaught Hemingway Stadium, there's one that sticks out the most. Because who else can you pick when Heisman winner and #1 pick Sam Bradford is there? But Britton, who would you choose?
Well, I'm going to go with Jackson Arnold. Like I said earlier, Saturday was the first time OU had 2 touchdown passes in a game in nearly 2 months. It's not his fault that the offensive line couldn't even block someone on Instagram if they tried. Plus, he had 221 total yards on Saturday. Look for the offense and Arnold to get back on track against Maine.
Well, my MVP stepped up when he was needed the most. Give me the walk-on freshman, Jacob Jordan. He had his first career touchdown Saturday and against Ole Miss. I mean, just look at that catch. He tied his career high 6 receptions. And keep in mind, all 12 of those receptions have come in the last 2 games.
When it comes to the defense, Abby, who stood out in the Crimson and Cream against the Cardinal Red and Navy Blue?
Well, it's going to be the only guy who got a sack on Saturday, Caden Woolard. It was his first sack of the season, doing what no other Sooner could do against the Rebels and against the #2 offense in the nation. He also had 2 tackles and a season-high 1.5 tackles for loss.
Abby, no. It's Danny Stutzman. He's the leader of that defense that's been struggling a bit over the last month. He had 9 tackles, 4 of which were by himself, and 1.5 tackles for loss. He's been a little quiet in the stat sheet lately, but you can see his leadership on the field when he's talking to the younger guys on that defense.
Well, not everyone is Sooner born, but they can be Sooner bred. So, Britton, which former Sooner is showing off in the pros?
I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. The former Sooner QB completed 16 of 20 passes for 236 yards, including a 45-yard touchdown pass to Devontae Smith. And he added 37 yards and 3 more touchdowns on the ground in his mismatched shoes. Philly now has won 3 straight, and they'll host Jacksonville on Sunday.
All right, Britton, we talk about football enough. I'm going over to the basketball court for some Buddy buckets. Buddy Hield's Warriors debut was nothing short of cinematic, putting up 49 points in his first 2 games with Golden State. He's now averaging 19 points a game and is back in the Bay tonight at 9 to face the Pelicans.
Well, when it comes to what to watch for, I'm ready for some Sooner hoops. But Abby, what do you think OU fans should be keeping an eye out for?
How about the guy calling the plays? I think all Sooner fans can agree that the play calling has significantly improved over the past week. With Joe John Finley wearing the headset, OU scored the same amount of points on Saturday as they have in the previous 2 games combined. Now he can build more plays in what should be an easy game against Maine.
Well, the real thing to watch for is OU football's bowl game win streak. They have the second longest active bowl game streak at 25 seasons. Georgia has the longest at 27 current straight years. You'd have to go all the way back to 98 to find the last time the Sooners didn't end up in a bowl game. None of us were even born yet.
Alrighty, it is now time for our audience to decide a face-off winner. So if you think it was Britain, let me hear you. Okay, pretty good. But if you think it was Abby, make some noise. Alrighty, I've got to give this one to Britain tonight. Thanks so much for watching Sooner Sports Pad. For Abby Williams and Britain Ross, I'm Kaylee Jo Hummel. Have a great night.